to propose the adoption of this agenda?
I move on.
Proposals.
And that is what you're proposing? Do
Yes,
I have a seconder?
Singh seconds, Speaker. Good morning, everybody.
And that is saying thanks for seconding. I then put the minutes of the 4th of March for your comment, consideration and comment. I take it that you received them and you have had time to go through them. If we agree, I then put the first page, page 1. We didn't leave anybody in. We didn't misspell. We can go to page 2. I take it we can proceed to page 3.
Miss Beck, yeah.
Okay, Mungani. Okay, we can proceed to page 4. And page 5. Having had no comment, honorable members, I take it that the minute of we discussed, I would ask if there is anybody proposing adoption.
I think it has to be me again, Honourable Speaker. Singh.
And that is same proposes seconder.
Natasha seconds.
Good morning, Memazoni. Thanks for seconding. We then move on to our third item, which is matters arising.
Honourable Speaker. Yeah, I think there are some matters arising which probably Mr. Kaso can pick up on, and the legal advisor, because they've sent us some opinions. Thank you. They will know what I'm referring to.
That your mic is disturbing us, please. That the mic is
can ask ICT to please mute Mr. Tao's number.
Yes. Okay. Memazoni, your hand is up.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, if I may, on matters arising, we spoke about the report on the public protector that would be delivered. We did receive a particular report, and I just think we need to confirm this morning what we decided on in the Chief Whips Forum yesterday, which is the mode of voting that will take place next week Tuesday. So just the confirmation of how that will happen.
Memazon, I have to ask you to repeat because you are breaking.
Madam Speaker, I hope you can hear me better now.
Yeah, this is better, yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in the minutes arising, we have the report that you said that you would be dishing out to the parties regarding the Public Protector's report. We all received that particular report, and it has been programmed for adoption or rejection by the House next week, Tuesday. In the Chief Whips Forum, we did decide on the appropriate voting methods, and I think it would just be correct on a public forum to explain and confirm the decision that was taken as to the voting procedure that will happen next Tuesday.
If we get to the voting.
If we get to the voting, yes.
Yes. Council?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, before I start, I will request House Chairperson Dombela's mic to be, if he could mute it, and the Deputy Speaker's mic. I think they are interfering with the sound. The matter was discussed yesterday in the Chief Whips Forum, and the forum confirmed or affirmed the current approach to voting, that the whips would indicate the voting position of their members, and that the presiding officer, as has been done previously, will then ask if there is any member who would want to vote differently from what has been announced by the chief whip or by the whip of the party. So there will be no new approach to the matter. It's a standard approach that has been used successfully up to this point. So that's on the voting, Madam Speaker. Secondly, the two items that is mainly one item that had been raised last week related to the National Gambling Amendment Bill, where there was no clarity in terms of how the matter would be dealt with in the NCOP, where the committee, according to the report, simply did not agree to the bill but did not reject the bill. And there was a request for legal services to clarify the matter. And the clarity from legal services, which they can always amplify, is that the matter now has to go to the House, the Council, the NCOP, which will then decide whether it rejects the bill or whatever else it does with the bill. And if it does reject the bill could then go for mediation. But the NCOP has not scheduled that bill yet. So the matter has not been concluded within the space of the NCOP. The other legal opinion that had been requested was on the panel report, which basically affirms what was discussed in the NAPC last week, that the consideration of the report in the House must confine itself to the process and not the substance of the report. And that's the essence of the legal opinion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Ndate Singh, your hand is up.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and thank you to Mr. Kaso for raising those two matters. Yesterday in the Chief Whips Forum, we supported the idea of the way we normally vote to be the way we vote on the panel. There's nothing unusual about another report. We've been doing budgets worth billions and considering them in the manner that we did, so we support the way we go. If any member has any problem, as yesterday, all the presiding officers at the end, they ask members, if you want to vote differently, please indicate so. We'll follow that pattern, I believe. And then secondly, I think perhaps we need to start considering the composition of that mediation committee, well in advance, even as the NCOP is reconsidering the gambling bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any other member wishing to talk to us on matters arising? Honorable members. Members, only I see your hand up. Ndate Ntombela, you are next.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, yes, indeed, Honourable Singh has summed up exactly what happened in the Chief Whips Forum yesterday. What I would ask, though, Madam Speaker, is that a full transcript of members who were present on the Zoom platform, as well as in the House, be made available to the public and to political parties as soon after the meeting as possible, because it is only right that the members of the public know how public reps voted, and they won't know who is on the Zoom platform. So if we could please ask that the NA table make those lists available to us as soon as possible, it would be most appreciated. Thank you very much.
I thought we would do things as usual, as and when parties or members wish to get access to those. We've never, after a vote, dished out this. So I personally would think that we would not want to do anything out of the ordinary, and only if there are different circumstances and different demands are made will we then do this. I don't want to anticipate that we really want to go and do extraordinary things. Yes, I know it will be the first time that there is a report to be considered on the removal of any of the heads of the institutions supporting democracy. But I think we should be as normal, if you want, as possible. I do have Mem Kalipi because I see that Ndombela's hand has disappeared. I have Mem Kalipi. I have Tate Swartz. I've got Mema Jodina. I have Mentlangwini in that order. On Tate Ndombela's hand is back again.
Yes, can I go ahead?
You can go ahead. You will be followed up by Mem Kalipi.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. I'm on page 3. It is with regards where it says, the minutes say, with regard to the functions of the committee. Bullet 3. Bullet 2 says the committee must ensure that the inquiry is conducted in a reasonable and procedurally fair manner within a reasonable time frame. So I wanted clarity on that, Madam Speaker, about the reasonable time frame. Is it not advisable to come out with a specified time frame rather than reasonable? Because it seems to be open-ended. I don't know what legal implications it has, but it is just my concern. And then the second issue is on page 4.
You are page. We're dealing with matters arising. Ndate Ndombela, I will need to get to your bullet 2 on page 3.
Okay.
Which one is it?
The one that speaks.
Is it the minutes or something else?
Madam Speaker, if I may assist, this page, it's in the minutes. My version is page 4 of the minutes, and it will be the third paragraph from the bottom, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
House Chairperson Ndombela was referring to, is it point 3, sir, that you're referring to?
Yeah, it's point 2, the functions of the committee.
Yes, point 2. The committee must ensure that the inquiry is conducted in a reasonable and procedurally fair manner within a reasonable time. I think that's the point that he's asking. And
all right.
Thank you.
But other than that, Madam Speaker, other than that, it's I'm on page 4 again.
Yes.
The first paragraph. The first paragraph that ends with the process. But my issue lies with a sentence following the last one, where if you look at the last paragraph, it says it was agreed that the report would be scheduled for consideration. But just above that sentence, there's the one that begins with Parliament. I don't know whether you're with me, Madam Speaker.
Trying to be with you.
Yes. Can I then read it to demonstrate my point? The Speaker said that it would be a shame for our democracy if parties were to reject the report of the independent panel, as it was in the best interest of the country, comma. Then it goes on to say Parliament and the individual involved, that the process was undertaken by the committee. I can't get the meaning of that. It seems to be hanging. That sentence.
Okay. Now we can clarify that.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Clarify that. Ma'am Kalipi.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Unfortunately, I was not part and parcel of the Chiefs Forum yesterday. We are yet to receive a report on the caucus because one of ours was there in the meeting. But just a point of clarity, Madam Speaker, on the issue of voting. If we can get a little explanation on how did we, or how was the Chiefs Forum agreed on the voting part, because I can also relate to the issues of secret ballots on this matter. And then how did we resolve on that one, Madam Speaker? Secondly, here on the matters arising, Speaker, of the last week. I even raised a point, Madam Speaker, of which is not even captured here, suggesting that maybe as this forum we must have a tracker of issues, because once we don't raise a matter that arises on the last week, that issue seems to disappear, and then we can't even get a feedback on a particular matter. On this issue of the bills by the President and pre-1994 legislation, and it's also written here on the minutes, Speaker, to say that you indicated that you will be engaging with the President on the issue of assent bills and you will give feedback in due course. So the due course has no time frame, and we don't know what can we expect on this matter, Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And that is what.
Thank you, Speaker. I just wanted to urge the presiding officers to be very cautious during next week's consideration of the panel report, in as much as we have agreed that there'll be no discussion on the merits, only on the process. I would just urge that there's very specific guidance given in that regard, because it can obviously affect the legality of the process if there is any discussion on the substance. So that's just from my side. The rest I have been covered by other speakers. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, except that you have already gone into the legalities at the Chief Whip's Forum. You've already decided to take a decision on the method of voting. I don't think that process actually lies with you, but that's fine with me. Sometimes I think when things are legal, we need to keep within the legalities of it. The Chief Whip's Forum now decides how we vote. That responsibility is taken away from the presiding officer. In trying to make my life easy, you are complicating it. Because definitely you are now saying on that particular day, when you table this report, you must be a figurehead, you have no role. You take away the responsibilities of the presiding officer. So from that moment onward, and that so as far as I'm concerned, you are running the show as the Chief Whip's Forum. We might as well let you run this whole thing. And I'm not throwing out toys, but honestly, sometimes that overstepping of the mark, it does create problems for us. We then go to Mentlangwini. Oh, Mema Jodina and then Mentlangwini. Screen is.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and morning to all colleagues. Honorable Speaker, I think you are blowing this out of proportion. What we discussed in the Chief Whip's Forum, we said, should there be a need for voting, we must use the normal procedure that we've agreed upon for hybrid session. We're not trying to take over from what the presiding officers are doing, but we're saying let's be consistent with what we have been doing. But if there is a new method, should there be a need for voting, then presiding officers will do that. Ours was just to coordinate and agree on something, not that we want to take over. I think I must defend Chief Whip's Forum. We know the separation of powers between us and the executive, which is presiding officers, but we're merely facilitating, because at the end of the day, it is our members that will participate. But now we must have a clear guidance to our members, and not unless this current voting procedure is going to be changed. So till now, we're just affirming the current procedure that we've used from April to date, not that we're trying to take over. And I still want to confirm what Honorable Swart was saying, to say we've agreed on this, but we're not really taking over from presiding officers. Thank you. But also, Chair, Honorable Speaker, I agree with you that we have never demanded a printout immediately, and we must not go to that. some parties are already on the media there saying things about this, and this might cause unnecessary tensions, and we must not be pushed too far on this particular matter. Let's allow the process to unfold. This is not the first time that we're meeting as Parliament and voting on certain matters if there is vote or participation. So let's not be pushed too far. Thank you.
That is precisely where I was, Mema Jodina, when I'm saying it's part of the voting. But I take voice. Mentlangwini.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, I just want to come in on the list issue. I think IT have been doing a great job throughout the voting processes, and they always give us lists of present members if we request them. So I doubted that it will really be a problem if you would request for your party, if you want to now see who was in your house and who was not in the house. I doubted that will be a problem because IT really are doing the best. They do give it for us at the beginning of the house and at the house and the office of Mr. Tao. So it's really not an issue. We don't really need to write about it. It's been done throughout bills that we've been voting for and all of that. So that is really not an issue, Speaker. Thank you.
Yeah, let's keep to the normality of things. As I say, it's the first time Parliament gets here. And if we normally do ask for it, for transcripts, no problem, because we are not going to treat this as out of the ordinary. That's the point I am making. Ndate Ntombela, your hand is still up. And you could see, is it an old hand?
Okay. It's an old hand.
It's an old hand.
With you to the meeting and the collective, you covered me to the extent that denies matter briefly.
You must start again. We lost you.
I'm saying I'm happy. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
No, I'm saying I'm happy with the caution that you've given to the collective, to the Chief Hoops Forum, in the sense that in line with what Honorable Majordina is saying, we discussed the matter briefly, but there was no hard and fast decision about new methods of voting. But I do think that it's important that at the relevant time, a decision is made, especially by appropriate structures, as to how we're going to go forward. I think all that we're trying to do was to re-emphasize the methods that we've used so far, and to look at briefly whether or not they would be effective, but without making a decision to say this is the direction we're going to go. You're quite right in saying it were the authority and the discretionary powers to decide as to what the voting method is going to be, should it be changed, rest with the executive authority of Parliament. And if you feel like we've overstepped our boundaries, I think we do owe you an apology.
Thank you, sir. The Honorable Sheikh Imam.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, there's two issues I have. And yes, I must confirm what the Chief would said, that actually the matter that was discussed is to maintain the norm. However, I'm not sure whether, Speaker, you are concerned about the fact that we've even entertained a matter of this discussion without the presiding officers like yourself being involved in it. I'm not sure if that is a concern, but rest assured that it wasn't intended to undermine your office, but maintain we have agreed to maintain the promise. The other problem that I have in terms of this committee, and perhaps would like some legal guidance and advice, because some members have already in the public domain have, without any doubt, stated their point in terms of how they feel on this matter of like the public protector. Now, when you put a committee in place and you have people who have already taken a stand, this is exactly what I'm going want. then how is this committee going to be objective enough to be able to deliberate on the matter of this nature? And that is what my concern, and maybe perhaps we need a legal opinion that when somebody is conflicted, should they then be part and parcel of this committee or not? Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Julius.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and good morning, members. Apologies, I cannot put on my video. I have a terrible flu. But just one issue.
We can't see you, Sururu.
But just know that I'm glowing.
Okay.
Sorry, Madam Speaker. Just on the legalities, I just need some sort of guidance or explanation for clarity. At the end, the presiding officer will ask members whether they want to vote differently from their parties. So I need some legal opinion or advice on this, because we had court cases where the issue of secret ballot voting may come in. Will a member be prejudiced by the party or so when they stand up and say, I want to vote differently with my party and so forth? We never had it, and I think it's worth checking out what the procedure might be. If there's a procedure, it can just be explained by legal. And so I'm just worried that, you know what, we might have a comeback later on when members feel that, you know what, this was not done properly, you know. Just need a legal opinion on that. Thanks, Madam Speaker.
No, we get you. Ndate Naransen, and then Ndate Kaso.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I don't know why we're trying to count our chickens before they hatch. We have a report coming before the House. We have a procedure we've got precedence on how we vote on reports. Let's get on with the business of the day and see what happens. And for those members who are saying things in the media, etc., I'm sure their respective parties, when requested to put members or to nominate members to serve on that committee, which is still to be decided, will take all that into consideration. So I think we are going around in circles. We have a report, a normal report, and let's get on with the business of how we do it. And I think the minutes usually reflect the names of the ayes and the noes. So perhaps we have the names of the ayes and the noes reflected in the minutes the next day. Because I have seen my name many times and I feel very happy when I either voted aye or no on any matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Tete Klaso, I think we're coming back to responses. Can you start, Ndoda, with what you recorded? Ndoda, in respect, not belittling, if you will forgive me.
No, ma'am.
And then, yeah.
On page 5 of the minutes, there was a query about the last sentence, or the second last sentence, first paragraph. Let me just read it for the members who do not have it. It says, the Speaker said that it would be a shame for our democracy if parties were to reject the report of the independent panel, as it was in the best interest for the country, Parliament, and the individual involved that the process was undertaken by the committee. I thought it does make sense. I'm not sure if House Chairperson Ntombela still would like me to clarify it further.
Ntombela, or should I regurgitate? What I meant there was that it was not only in the best interest of Parliament to, you'll remember we did not have a process. We took time to deal with this matter. We gave the committee the chance, the committee that deals with issues related to institutions, the Justice Committee. When they said to us that really we cannot deal with this matter as the committee, we took it to rules. We discussed it in all the fora. The Chief Whip's Forum, I think, also discussed it. We then came back with rules specific to this, and those rules then give us a process of how to go about this. And what I was really saying there was, you couldn't have gone through this process and then acted on this process. And then instead of taking the process towards the end, you then decide that you know you're not interested in this process. Our process says you set up a panel that determines whether there is a matter or not to answer for. You take that report into the House. The House determines whether you proceed or not. If the House determines that you set up a committee, which is representative, and the matter comes back into the House again. And I was saying it is in the interest of Parliament to be seen to be doing its work the way it has agreed to do its work. That is following that process. It is in the interest of the institution itself to see that Parliament does keep to itself. And I'm going to be long-winded on this one because, you see, this thing is already tearing us apart. We want to, members in their individual rights are springing all over. That's fine. As we said, members will be enabled within their parties, and if they differ with their parties, we do it in our virtual rules of voting. We agreed that any member who wants to say I'm voting differently from my party, we've been doing that, and so far the system has worked. That is why I was saying let's keep to that system, and if any member does that, that vote will be recorded, and therefore it will be reflected into the report. So that is what we meant, that it is that we respect the processes that we put in place, that we carry them throughout. Because maybe my concern there was that I did not want to see us wasting time, weeks and months, working on a process, adopting it, letting it unfold, and then kicking it out just like that. And I was saying that South Africa would respect us better as Parliament if we really started and finished our job properly. Whatever the results, because one does not have any personal interest in the matter, one must do what is required to do. And the results are in the hands of the different parties of the House. As a presiding officer, I can say it now here, that both Tsenudi and Modise have no interest that is personal in this matter. I don't know if there's another one. It was yes, legislation.
Ma'am, it was on page 4 that the functions of the committee, and item 2 there. The committee must ensure that the inquiry is conducted in a reasonable and fair manner. Now, legal will come in there to talk about reasonableness, except to say that, and to clarify the point that we're not at the point of the committee yet. The point of the committee will come about if the House says go ahead with the process, then that committee will be constituted. So what the House is doing on Tuesday next week is to decide whether or not to proceed with the process to the committee stage. So we're not there yet. But legal services, Advocate Adhikari will explain reasonable and procedural fair manner. Adhikari?
Adhikari?
Thank you very
much. I see you are ready.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Honourable Speaker and Honourable members and colleagues. Well, reasonable simply means without undue delay. And it's a little bit less than prompt or urgently, because this is a process that requires absolute fairness. So it requires the time that is fairly required, reasonably required, taking into account all other factors that could arise as one goes along the way, keeping always fairness as a balance to ensure that there's no haste in getting a process done. So it's always balanced with what is fair and reasonable in a particular circumstance. Thank you.
And Tate Klaso, there was one that raised by Mayor Kalipi on the legislation. The point I had made that I would raise the matter in my discussions with the president. The matter was ventilated. We looking at agreeing whether it would be reasonable to give the space after Parliament has agreed to a bill, the period which we can give to the head of state to consider, to sign off, and to get the bill publicized. So that discussion has happened. It will be a matter of seeing whether we are saying a month or 3 months are reasonable. We didn't conclude on that one, but we did discuss that as soon as is practicable, the president having assented to a bill, it must be made public. Tate Xaso, are we leaving anything else out? Which
as regards the pre-94 legislation, Madam Speaker and honourable members, the matter was communicated to the leader of government business, and it is our understanding that that office is dealing with the issue, and when it's ready to report back to Parliament, it will report back to Parliament. It is a massive task. It involves a lot of laws, but of course the office will respond for itself in terms of how far the process has gone. But Speaker wrote to the LOGB, and Speaker is awaiting a response from the LOGB. Thank you.
Thank you. Those were matters arising. I hope we have responded to all the matters which were put to us. Is there any other matter arising, honourable members, before we move to the next item? Ndate Naran Singh?
Yeah, sorry, Honourable Speaker, not a matter arising, but I just received a message from Honourable Kwankwa that he may have difficulty in joining. If we can record his apologies. I don't know if we've done that.
We do understand. We're noting that. Thank you very much. Honourable members, I therefore think we should move and give the platform to Ndate Tau. Or Ndate.
I'm the corner, Mama. Remember,
Ukona, I say Ukona that. Honourable Ndate Tau, can you take us through committee section report?
Good morning, Madam Speaker, honourable members and colleagues. Our report starts on slide number 4. On this slide, honourable members and Madam Speaker, it is the ad hoc committee to amend section 25 of the Constitution. The committee is likely to review its program with the view to ask for an extension. The meeting is taking place on Friday, and further details will follow. The next update is on slide number 7. On this slide, it is Employment Equity Amendment Bill before PC on Employment and Labour. The committee is going to consider the presentations on summaries of public submissions on the 10th of March and responses by the department on the 17th of March. The next update is on slide number 8. Before PC on Employment and Labour, Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Amendment Bill. The committee is going to consider public submissions on the 10th of March and responses by the department on the 17th of March. Next update is on slide number 9. That is Electoral Laws Second Amendment Bill. Before PC on Home Affairs, the committee has proposed the 16th and the 17th of March as for the workshop. The dates have now been confirmed. It's going to be a hybrid workshop, which will take place at E249 on those dates. The next update is on slide number 10. On this slide, it is Electoral Laws Amendment Bill before PC on Home Affairs. The committee is planning briefings on the 9th of March and to finalize the bill on the 12th of March, which is tomorrow. The next update is on slide number 11. On this slide, it is easy of doing business bill before PC on public service and administration. This is a new referral. The committee is still to schedule the bill. The next update is on slide number 15. That is criminal law, sexual offences and related matters amendment bill before PC on justice and correctional services. It is one of the gender-based violence related bills. The committee is planning to finalize it on the 12th, which is tomorrow. The next update is on slide number 17, domestic violence amendment bill before PC on justice and criminal services. The committee is planning to finalize the bill tomorrow, the 12th of March. The next update is on slide number 20. On the slide is civil aviation amendment bill before PC on transport. The committee had deliberations on the 9th of March and is planning to adopt its report on the 17th of March. The next update is on slide number 27. On this slide, Madam Speaker, is just to confirm that the fiscal framework has been finalized by the Standing Committee on Finance, and this paves the way for the process to start with the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill. Next update is on slide number 28. On this slide, it's just to confirm that the Standing Committee on Appropriation will have public hearings on the Division of Revenue Bill tomorrow, the 12th of March, with the aim to finish the bill on the 16th of March. The next update is on slide number 33. On the slide, Madam Speaker, it is just an update as per request by the House Chairperson, just to inform the members as to where the process is administratively with regard to the processing of national health insurance. I will just quickly go through this. This program is still to be discussed and approved by the committee, but administratively we can just indicate that out of the 200 substantive submissions, 123 has been captured and 77 are still being processed. The aim is to make sure that they are finalized by the 15th of April. And the scanning process of the submissions has been done so far, about 7,000, and the aim is to finalize the process on the 15th of March. And the email submissions, which is about 314,955, the capturing will start on started on the 3rd of March. The aim is to finalize on the 5th of July, and the report writing will start on the 17th of May, with the aim to finalize it on the 31st of July. And phase 2, which is the hand delivered submission, that is 32,613. The capturing process will start on the 5th of July, with the aim to finalize on the 16th of July. And the report writing will start on the 12th of July, with the aim to finalize it on the 30th of August. So by the 1st of September 2021, the report will be ready. That is based on the current manpower that we have. The green part just shows the possible scenario, but the far end, which is yellowish, it shows the worst case scenario. The committee is still going to deliberate on this. That was for information. The next update is on slide number 34. That is the National Health Amendment Bill before PC on health. The committee has finalized the matter by passing a report of the motion of desirability. The next update is on slide number 37. On this slide, it is Economic Regulations of Transport Bill before PC on transport. The committee deliberation is planning deliberations on the 18th of March, and the adoption of the report is planned later on or to be decided. Next update is on slide number 39. That is expropriation bill before PC on public works and infrastructure. The committee is planning to consider the oral submissions 24th up to the 25th of March, and public hearings are planned for the period the 8th of April up to the 20th of June. The next update is on slide number 42. On this slide, it is Children's Amendment Bill before PC on social development. The public hearings that has been planned for the whole of this week has been postponed until further notice. I will talk to this process later on. The next update is on slide number 46. On this slide, it is statutory appointment before PC on communication, that is the filling of SABC board members. The committee is planning to do the shortlisting on the 16th of March, and the interviews and adoption of the report is planned for the second quarter. 10. The next update is slide number 47. That is MDDA board appointments before PC on communication. In this, the committee is planning shortlisting on the 16th of March, and then adoption of the report during the second term. Next update is on slide number 49. That is the South African Human Rights Commission statutory appointments before PC on Justice and Correctional Services. The committee is planning to finalize this process by tomorrow, the 12th of March. The next update is on slide number 49. It is the NYDA process before PC on women, youth, and persons with disability. This is the program. The adverts will go out the 20th of March. The closing date for applications will be the 9th of March. The committee will consider the criteria of shortlisting on the 24th of May. On the 25th of May, it will be shortlisting. From the 26th of May up to the 15th of June, it will be the screening of the candidates. And the 21st of June will be the discussion on the interview questions. The interviews are planned for the 22nd up to the 25th of June. And the 29th of June will be deliberations with the aim to finalize the process by the 30th of June. The next update is on slide number 50. That is the appointment of chairpersons of Lotteries Commission before PC on Trade and Industry. The committee had interviews on the 9th of March and deliberations on the 10th. The aim is to finalize the process by the 12th, which is Friday tomorrow. The next update is on slide number 51. It is the appointment of members of Critical Infrastructure Council before PC on police. The shortlisting process will be started on the 9th of March and will continue on the 13th of April. And the interviews are planned for the 3rd of June, and the deliberations adoption is the third term. The next update is slide number 54. On this slide, it is a petition before PC on communication. That is Sudan Project, Mzansi Broadband, and ACSS Telecoms, and Follow Electricals, and others. The petition is still to be, the date to process the petition is still to be determined. The next update is on slide number 55. On this slide is also a petition that is before the PC on Public Works and Infrastructure with regard to expanded public works program employees, job seekers. The committee is planning to have briefings with the petitioner on the 16th of March. The next update is on slide number 56. On this slide, Madam Speaker and honorable members and colleagues, it is the committees that are likely to continue during the constituency period. The first committee is the ad hoc committee to amend Section 25. The program is still to be developed. PC on Public Works and Infrastructure will also consider the oral submissions on an expropriation bill from the 24th of 25th of March. The NYDA will continue, especially during the June recess. The PC on Justice and Correctional Services will have deliberations on Correctional Services Amendment Bill, which have got a Constitutional Court deadline of 31st of May. The committee is going to meet on the 24th of March. PC on Health will also meet to deal with the National Health Insurance Bill. I have already indicated earlier on that what has been shown in slide number 33 is still to be discussed and approved by the committee. The PC on social development, the public hearings that were planned for this week has been postponed. The committee is planning to continue during the recess period. Dates are still to be determined. The PC on police is going to continue with the appointment of members of Critical Infrastructure Council, as indicated earlier on. The proposed date is the 13th of April. And the last committee is PC on Employment and Labor. The committee has got two bills before it. The dates and the program is still to be determined and the necessary approval will be done. This concludes our report, Madam Speaker, honorable members and colleagues.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, floor is open for discussion. I have no hands.
My hand is up, Madam Speaker. I don't know. I'm trying this thing.
Okay, take the floor. It's just coming up. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to get a clarity from your good office, Madam Speaker, in terms of petitions. And it was also part of the presentation here. But I just want to get just a clarity in terms of the processes of petitions. For instance, if there's a petition that has been received by the Speaker's office, and then the Speaker's office said, no, this petition must be dealt with a cocktail committee. Then we process the petition and so forth. But when the municipality or the provincial government is supposed to come back to the committee to conclude on the matter that was raised, they were forever busy. They don't want to come back to the committee to complete or to conclude on the petitions. So how do you deal with such a problem? Thank you.
You deal with it in the same way as you deal with the executive. It is a petition, it comes from the public. They see Parliament as the last resort because before they come to us, they may have tried to engage with local government or whoever on their own and failed. And therefore, it goes, honorable members, to the extent of sending people down or summoning the particular municipality or individuals involved, then we do so. If it is a matter that is in front of the courts, obviously we will leave the matters there until they are exhausted. If it is a matter which for which judgments have been done, we may have our hands tied, but generally we try through petitions to help the public as much as possible. Because if they bring a petition to us and they have not exhausted the channels available to them, we usually refer it back to those people to say, this and this matter is before us, but we notice that you have not been given the opportunity to deal with it. So we try to be as fair as possible all rounds, but we must. I honestly think that when people come and petition Parliament, it is because they are desperate. The issues might seem petty for us, it might seem like a waste of time, but the individuals are desperate. Otherwise, they would not come to us. So we try and help as much as possible. I have been talking to the legal department for years, Parliament, to be on call sometimes to help out with public petitions. Jay, do some pro bono work. Let's see how we help South Africans who can afford to pay legal fees out there, but feel that the system in some way or the other is not fair to them. I don't know if I've helped you, but if there is any municipality that refuses to respond to you, please tell us. But the committee is within its powers to actually insist on it. Ndate Papo?
Speaker, I just wanted to add that maybe through the National Speakers Forum, where provincial speakers participate, that issue you are raising should be raised there, because the speakers in the provinces also have the speakers forums of municipalities, because most petitions are actually coordinated through that way. That will actually also strengthen. If it's already happening, that will be good, because we need to ensure that what you are saying in relation to issues raised in municipalities or in the provinces where, for example, metros have petitions committees, provinces have petitions committees, that those issues must be tackled there so that people don't end up coming to Parliament, as you say, having tried to raise them. Obviously, as you say, there are people who start with Parliament without having procedures, and Parliament usually refer them back. I just wanted to add that, because the issue of petitions in municipalities and in provinces need to be seen as part of democracy, so that we don't have people who violate the constitution by protesting outside what the constitution allows, like blocking roads, banning things, which is not allowed in the constitution. But petitions are allowed. And some people think that by engaging in violent protests, they are defending their constitutional right. Actually, they are violating the constitution and rights of other citizens of South Africa. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Ndate Hope. Honorable members, is there any other input on this report from committees? None? Thank you very much. I think we then proceed to the Bill's office.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker, honorable members and colleagues.
Good morning.
On our report on bills before Parliament, we have on item A, 3 bills on the order paper, and on item B, there are 38 bills before committees. And we'd like to report that the Division of Revenue and Appropriation Bill, highlighted on number 35 and 36, were referred to the Standing Committee on Appropriations for consideration. I'll also like to report that the following bills were classified: the Division of Revenue Bill, Appropriation Bill, Special Appropriation Bill, and Ease of Doing Business Bill. Lastly, Madam Speaker, the Recognition of Customary Marriages Amendment Bill has been sent to the President for assent, and the second language is Afrikaans. Therefore, the total number of bills with presidency is now 5. With your permission, Honorable Speaker, may I hand over to my colleague, Advocate van der Merwe, to continue with the report. Thank you.
Advocate, please take the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning, members. I will be speaking to the Constitutional Court judgments that have been suspended. We did also prepare a report that was circulated and that deals with all the matters. But the specific matters that I would like to just point out to members are the matter of the New Nation movement, which deals with the Electoral Act. And on this matter, the suspension of the order lapses the 10th of June in 2022. And the progress recently is that the Minister of Home Affairs has confirmed that an advisory committee has in fact been established to assist with the development on the electoral policy for the bill. This committee comprises of academics, legal practitioners, the IEC, or officials from the IEC, and former cabinet members.
The Portfolio Committee itself is also holding a 2-day consultative workshop on this matter next week. Then the Correctional Services Act, this the bill to amend this act was passed by the National Assembly on the 9th of March, and it has been transmitted to the National Council of Provinces. The Select Committee has been briefed on the urgency because the deadline, the suspension order lapses on the 2nd of May this year. That committee has been briefed on this matter, and they are considering the way forward. Thank you. Those are the only two matters that we want to highlight. As I say, the rest are reflected in a report that was circulated. Thank you.
Are you done?
I am done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The floor is open, honorable members. Honorable Papo, is that an old hand? Okay, I take it that the Papo hand is old, and therefore I do not have any hands and from the members, and therefore we can safely accept that the report by the Bill's office is accepted and move on to the draft parliamentary report. Majake, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The program is flighted. Basically, what I'm going to do will be to present the final part of the first term program. And we also have a draft second term program, which I'm going to ask that it be Mr. Kwaso who actually presents it. So now we are now on week 7 of the first term parliamentary program. What is to follow after this meeting is at 10 o'clock up to 12:30, we're going to have caucus by political parties. Can we have the program again on the screen? And then at 14 hours, we will have mini plenaries up to 15 hours for businesses listed. Then mini plenaries will continue from 16 hours to 17:30. Friday the 12th is continuation of mini plenaries.
I don't know if it is just me, Mema Jackie, but you have removed it from the screen now.
It's on the screen now. Probably it's your screen, Speaker.
No, I also see yourself, not the presentation.
Yeah. Okay, so probably there is a problem because for me, from where I am, I can see it on the screen.
Me too.
Okay.
We can't see it. We can see you looking pretty this morning.
We see you.
Can I see?
There seems to be connectivity problems.
The screen.
There seems to be connectivity problems from the person who's supposed to flight it on the screen.
Everyone,
ask ICT to assist.
And so we hear you. There seems to be connectivity problems. The person who's supposed to share with us, it seems to be having problems. That's the thing.
Can I just continue? Sorry for not being in the position to see it on the screen. Is it okay to just listen?
The program is on the screen, Honorable Speaker.
It's going again.
Okay. It may be the connectivity is on my side because it's back on.
Yeah, now we can see the program.
On. Yes, please continue.
Change Motorola phones that get to the better phones. Change Motorola's.
You're exposing our age. Please continue, Mema Jackie.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We've had on Thursday, as I have already presented mini plenaries, and then they continue into Friday, the 12th of March. And for Friday, the 12th of March, they will start at 10 o'clock up to 11 o'clock is the first part of the mini plenaries for businesses listed. And then what will follow will be at 12 up to 13:30. It's a continuation of mini plenaries for businesses listed. And the week that follows is week number 8, with Monday the 15th of March being Constituency Day, Tuesday the 16th of March, between 10 and 13 hours, we have committees, and at 14 hours, we've got plenary for businesses listed to consider is what has just been discussed in a form of matters arising from minutes of the report of the independent panel in establishment of Rule 129U to conduct a preliminary assessment of the motion on the public protector. Wednesday, the 17th of March, between 9 and 13 hours is committees. At 10 o'clock is Chief Whip's Forum. At 15 hours up to 17 hours 45, we have plenary, and the main business of the day will be questions to the Deputy President. Thursday, the 18th of March at 8:30 is Programming Committee meeting. At 10 o'clock, it's caucus by political parties. 14 hours, it's plenary up to 17 hours. Excuse me. And the main business of the day will be questions for oral reply, cluster 3. Friday, the 19th of March is our last day of the first term of Parliament for 2020. We will have plenary at 10 o'clock for consideration of a report of the Standing Committee on Appropriations on Division of Revenue Bill and the second reading thereof, reading debate thereof. And then it will then be followed by a debate on Human Rights Day. And the proposed theme for the debate is promoting human rights in the age of COVID-19. The constituency period will continue from the 23rd of March to the 3rd of May. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and like I've indicated at the beginning through you, if Mr. Kaso can actually present the proposed program for the second term of Parliament.
Thank you very much. Ndate Kaso, are you ready?
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Just to start with the current one, Madam Speaker, next week, Tuesday, we have received a request for the Section 25 ad hoc committee term to be extended to the end of May. So there would need to be a motion to that effect. That is on Tuesday. And then if we could have the second term program on the screen, colleagues. And thank you. Madam Speaker, this is the program for the second term. Go to the next page, please. We are proposing that when we come back, there should be a day when we do the standard business of the House, just in case there are bills that must be passed or any terms that must be extended, like ad hoc committee term that may need to be extended. So we're proposing that we open up that Tuesday, the 11th, for that purpose. And then from the 12th, Madam Speaker, to basically the end of May, we proposing that we have mini plenaries on the budget votes, because that is the time for the budget votes. That will take us to the end of May. We have not yet received all the dates. Votes. Very few departments that have indicated their preferred dates for the budget votes, but we are working on that in conjunction with the Office of the Leader of Government Business. For instance, we've got health there that is indicated on the 13th of May and corporate governance and traditional affairs. Let's go to the end of May. Those are the others that have indicated. That takes us to the end of May. So we will close that series of budget vote debates with Parliament's budget vote and the presidency budget vote, which would happen over 2 days, just the week before the 2nd of June. And then the last session will be on the adoption of the appropriation bill by the House, that is on the 2nd of June. And then we will be left with, I think, 2 days before the end of the session. The session ends on the 4th of June, and on the 7th of June, we go into constituency. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, comments? Ndate Naran Singh, oh, the hand has disappeared.
Sorry, I got it to disappear. This Pukila Manjuma. But I have a few questions.
Yes, Mem Kalipe and that Papo in that.
No, I have a few questions, Honorable Speaker.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to know, thank you for the presentation of the program. I just wanted to know that as a principle, and perhaps Honorable Frolic can confirm this. As a principle, I'm sure we agreed that committees can continue when there are many plenaries. Because tomorrow I see there are 3 or 4 committees during the time of mini plenaries, and I don't know if the mini plenaries will be exhausted in terms of numbers. That's the one issue. The second issue, I cannot, Mr. Kaso mentioned last week the issue of temporary presiding officers. And I don't know if I saw that, and also the question of the Rules Committee. And then the last question will be on the second term. I see we won't be meeting until after June 16th. So do we not want to perhaps, even if it's in the beginning of June, have a Youth Day debate? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ma'am Kalipi?
And Yabulela Speaker, one of my question is been covered by Honorable Singh, because I wanted to know, I saw on the program that we're having many plenaries on Friday. And as far as I know, there are committees that are sitting on the same time. If you can get a clarity on that one. And secondly, Speaker, if you can get a clarity on, I think it was today's what is Thursday, on Tuesday, the Zoom platform crashed. As a result, those who were on the Zoom platform couldn't hear anything while the House was taking place until the Chief Whip of the majority party intervened and asked for the House to be postponed. And there were motions without notice and notices of motion that were not dealt with. So is it accommodated now in the program that has been presented here to us? Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you.
Oh, the last one,
Speaker. Oh, the last one?
Yeah, the last one, Speaker, on that, on the light of the fact that we are in level 1 now, and we are, last time when we discussed people who can participate in the House physically is 166. So I just want to check if the number is increased, or we are all expected to go back to Parliament. If that is the case, what is the arrangement, Speaker? Thank you.
Papo?
I just wanted to indicate that even if the rules are going to be, the amended rules are still going to be presented to the House for adoption, we will finalize the date hopefully tomorrow for the next term for the NA, the Deputy President, for the coming term, and communicate them to the Speaker tomorrow. Because my assumption is that there will still be a meeting next week to finalize the program. Because unless if I misunderstood the program for the next term.
Okay. That Imam Sheikh?
Thank you, Speaker. I just wanted clarity or confirmation on the fact that we're going into recess, and yesterday in the Chief Whip's meeting, we discussed the issue of some committees will continue during recess to sit. Just need some clarity on it. Thank you.
Okay. Man Sangwini, you are the last one.
Thank you very much, Speaker. My one point is covered by the Honorable Kalipi in terms of moving the numbers a bit up in Parliament in terms of physical attendance. If any work been done to increase the number a little bit, because now we are moving into, we are actually on level 1. Is there any work being done? And then secondly, Speaker, I think the last time I raised also the issue in terms of physical committee attendance. What work have been done? Are we how many committees can sit after recess in terms of committee room preparations? Thanks, Speaker.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mababu, yes, Speaker.
Member Jordan.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, let me respond on the committees that are supposed to meet during constituency period. We agreed in the Chiefs Forum that we know that from when the House rises on the 12th till May, there is a lot of backlog in various committees. Hence, they were listed by committee section at the back. That these are some of the committees that we are requested to meet during this period. But we said that must not compromise doing constituency work, because mainly most of the meetings are sitting virtual. So in principle, we've agreed that let's allow parliament work to be done whilst we are also doing our constituency work. So that is not limited to those that are listed there. I know that higher education will also need a request for meetings. So we are going to be flexible. That's how we have put it. We're going to be flexible to allow our members also to do oversight where there is agency. So in the last paragraph from committee section, it has attached some committees that are supposed to meet during this period of constituency, because others, they have time frames in terms of legislation and all that. When it comes to the question that was asked by Honorable Mkalipi, that the business of Tuesday, was it then taken to care of in this program? Yes, I think that next week, yes, those notices of motions and motions are taken care of. We've included them so that we don't have anything that is outstanding. We really apologized to all members of political parties that were unable to participate for the two debates that were there in the House. But we agreed that let's slot in those outstanding motions that were supposed to be read on that particular day. Then when it comes to increase of numbers, from 166 to any other number, that could be done, Honourable Speaker, because we still firm that Parliament is a workplace. So it's just that according to the measurements that we have for the House and the capacity of the House, if we do 1.5 or 2 meter, it gives us up to 166 because of the capacity of the House, not unless we might think of having an additional venue, which might be E209. We might add more, but in the National Assembly plenary or chamber, so far we can go up to 166. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Ndate Kaso, those that have not been responded to.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Indeed, the Rules Committee report will be dealt with by the House next week on Tuesday, which will then mean that the rules relating to the Chief Whips Forum will now be confirmed by the House, hopefully. And the rules relating to the questions to the Deputy President will also be confirmed by the House, as discussed by the Rules Committee, agreed to by the Rules Committee, because only the House can amend the rules. The Rules Committee makes recommendations. So that will be on Tuesday to be carried in the report of the Rules Committee. The issue of temporary presiding officers, I did not mention it deliberately because I need to discuss it with the Speaker first, so that there can be a finality on that issue once I've discussed it with the Speaker. And the youth debate, we have created a time in the second term program, I think about 2 days after we would have adopted the budget space, so that there can be this kind of debate on in one of those days. And then, of course, motions without notice that were not dealt with have been accommodated on the 18th. That will be after questions. So members, instead of adjourning at 5, because questions on the 18th start at 2, instead of adjourning at 5, we'll adjourn at about 6 p.m. on the 18th. And I think the Chief Whip has spoken to the issue of 166. We're not able to go beyond 166. But also my own observation is that we have not even reached 166 in the House in terms of attendance up to this point. So I don't think there's a need, at least in my assessment, to increase the time yet, because even that 166, we have not made it. I think Honorable Papo has raised the issue of questions of the Deputy President, and the indication is that they will present a letter with a proposed date for the second term. I think that's what he's referring to, when the Deputy President will come and respond to questions. Committees needing to meet during constituency, that report was given by committee section. The last slide dealt with some of the committees that may require to meet during the constituency period. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Member Jake, your mic is on. Do you wish to respond?
I'm fine, Honorable Speaker. I think I've been covered by both the Chief Whip and Mr. Kaso. Thank you.
Just to acknowledge that, yes, the server broke. The report from Mayor Kyawa is that we are working on a contingency. What happened last week is mitigated into the future, that we have a backup so that we don't actually lose time and into the future. So we're working on a plan. I think they might even have concluded on it, because this is the report I got last week. Also to indicate to you, honorable members, that on the 17th and 18th, some members of the House will be in the interviews for the Secretary to Parliament. We have already invited members across parties to participate. So if you don't see them, please know that they will be participating on those interviews. Have we all put our questions for clarifications on this particular item?
I see Honorable Kwapa, ma'am. His hand is up.
And mine too.
Oh, you're coming back. Okay. Honorable Kwangwa and Mem Kalipi in that order. And Kuranov. Honorable Kwangwa.
Khawugile Speaker, ngokubekezela thina apha.
Please take the floor, Mem Kalipi.
Ewe, Speaker, sikhumbula iParliament alivulwe. If there is no directive from the Speaker's office, EFF members will just come in numbers to the House. Ndlubesho Nkwangwa, ewe sifuna ukuzosebenza. In a serious note,
you can come.
Will come, 44 members will come to work. The executive must account now. I was listening to the Chief Whip of the Majority Party Speaker saying that those committees that might sit during the recess, it's appearing somewhere here. So I was just perusing on this program, but I don't see it. If it can be finished, Speaker, with the list, because we love to know which are those committees, especially as we are from here, we are going to our caucuses, so we can communicate with our caucuses. I don't know how quick Mr. Klaso can finish us with that list. And also just to say that, Speaker, some of the committees, Speaker, even the allocated time in Zoom is not enough. For instance, I'm sitting in committee, and we have so many issues that needs to be dealt with. We meet during the day from 9 before and until before the sitting takes place, and then we also reconvene from 7 p.m. And on the past 2 weeks, our COCTA meeting are finishing early hours in the morning. As I'm speaking to you, I'm very tired. We finished last night around midnight. The day before, we finished around 1:30. So I'm saying that, Chairperson, Speaker, our work are becoming more and more hectic on a daily basis. So it will be very better if we can be finished with the list of committees so we can plan better. As the Chief Whip of the ANC was saying, we must balance the constituency work and also our committee work. Thank you very much,
It's
Speaker.
on the screen. It's on the screen, the committees that are expected to meet during constituency. But we also must say thank you very much, COCTA, for the hard work. Ntate, oh, nyamalele ke ngoku ubhuti wam. Ntate Kuranov?
Thank you, Speaker. I assume that the second term program will be finalized next week in the National Assembly Programming Committee. Just to confirm that the President has written both to the Speaker and to the Chairperson of the NCOP, proposing dates for questions for oral reply in both houses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mentlangwini, is this an old hand?
Speaker, yes, it was an old hand, Speaker, but I will take the opportunity just to add another issue, Speaker.
Yeah, use the old hand, my sister.
Speaker, thank you. What I want to also check, Speaker, in terms of, you remember in the past, we had the mini plenaries in E249 while the others is going in NA and the other in Old Assembly. But today we're going to have them all four on visual to make it a little bit easier in terms of logistics and so forth. Maybe we can look into it maybe next time, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Klaso, Mr. Klaso, in terms of, let's try by all means to bring things back to normality, Speaker, in terms of even the mini plenaries that we had. Let's work maybe perhaps on it, and then let's have maybe an effective proposal when we are coming back after recess. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Honorable Papo, is it an old hand too? It must be an old hand if he's not responding. Honorable members, those were the last takers on the floor. Ndate Kaso, do you wish to respond as to whether we shouldn't be trying to be using the physical space for many plenaries, just so that
Madam Speaker, yeah, that could be considered, ma'am. There are basically two venues currently that can do hybrid sittings. It's apart from the main chamber, it's E249 and S12A. And of course, the chamber has been used for mini plenaries before, so that could be considered. We'll look into it, Madam Speaker. And but for now, I think we will still do hybrid. It can't completely physical because the idea is that even the members who are not able to be here for good reason
must to participate.
Precisely, ma'am. Precisely, Madam Speaker. So we'll continue this hybrid for as long as we need to. Thank you.
I see. Ms. Chawa, your hand is up.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, thanks very much. I was just wanting to indicate the fact that even if it's level 1, we still have to respect the social distancing. So irrespective of the fact that we might have more hybrid committees, I think members should consider the fact that the more hybrid committees we have on the precinct, it will mean we will have used above 50% of the regulated space of a working place as regulated under the Disaster Management Act. So it's something, it's like we'll have just to be conscious of that as and when we plan. Maybe it can work around rotation, Speaker, but it's something that we'll have to plan properly so that we rotate and manage the spaces in the platform, the platform in the precinct itself. That's fine, Speaker. We will continue to think about it.
And maybe, yes, honorable members, parties can look at rotating members who are physically here so that it is not just the same old who are here. If there are other people who wish to come in, then maybe we can rotate and still keep safe distance and good numbers in the house. Honorable members, if this was the last of our interactions with the report on the draft parliamentary program, then I want to invite any of you who has an announcement. Do you have any announcement, honorable members? Okay. Nobody has an announcement. Mina, I want to announce that we all keep safe and that this meeting is closed, and keep your lovely smiles on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker, for those wise words.
Thank you, dear. Goodbye, members.
Member Julius must explain what he means by that when he was doing. He must explain that.
Explain what?
Member Julius must explain when he said he's blowing. He must explain what it means.
The meeting iphelile ngoku. Uza explain as a matter arising.
No. I'm just saying when he was the speaker. I'm blowing.